So in Activity 3.4, we take an actual look at the risk to coastal communities. And you can see, as the author points out on page 55, there's a risk really all up and down the eastern seaboard and all along the Gulf Coast. So we're going to look at a number of factors here, or a number of issues as far as how many people are affected and what exactly is the risk. So to answer the first question, what is the range of risks, my gut feeling would be to do this. I would go to the zoom tool and I would zoom in, and let's start with the northeast, and you can see this is a light yellow to a darker yellow, and these are your lower risks, 12%, 13 to 18%. If I look out towards the Outer Banks of North Carolina, you're in an orange bordering on red, so that's got to be in the 43 to 48% range. And if I use the pan tool, I can pan southward and allow it to refresh. And again, you've got a little node here of higher percentages, maybe 43 to 48, and that's from Miami north to roughly where I am in West Palm Beach. And then you can work your way west to the remainder of the Gulf Coast and pretty much come up with a range and answer question 1. To complete table number 2, you want to be able to do a couple things. First of all, let's go back to the northeast. And let's turn on the Identify tool, make sure the risk probability is active, and we'll go to Washington, D.C. And it looks like we have a risk probability of, I'm going to take that as 12%. I'm going to go over to here to the right-hand side. If I go to New York City, I show 18% for New York City. Now let's understand what that means. 18% would be 18 out of 100, so in a century one would expect 18 hurricanes or fairly significant storms. Let's say at least a named storm affecting the New York City area, and let's extend it further, say within 50 miles. We're not talking Central Park. Now, in addition to that, that means if it's 18 in 100 years, well, in 10 years it would be 1.8, or in other words, a tenth of that. And that is pretty much what does tend to happen in the New York area. So you can go ahead and fill in the chart on page 55, and then I've given you some information to think about how you want to answer, if you haven't already, question number 3. I'm going to pause this and I'm going to get things set up for the next page 56. So now we're going to ask, what is the population at risk? How many people really are at risk? And to do this, I'm on page 56. I'm just going to follow the instructions verbatim. Activate risk probability, and that's where we are. It's active. We're going to use the select features tool that's right up here and select features. We're going to turn on and activate counties. And now what we're going to do is we're going to say theme select by theme. So what we want to do is we want to take the counties theme and intersect them with risk probability. And we're going to create a new set of data with that. Now when we open up the counties theme, and we can see again counties is active, we're going to look up the theme table. As I scroll down here, I see some of the counties across the United States are highlighted, and that's exactly what I wanted to see. My count here is 758 of the 3,100 counties are actually in the threat area. And based on 1999 population estimates, which haven't changed that much in the last decade, if we go to field statistics, what you'll see is that somewhere on the order of 95 million people are at risk. And if you were to go back and look at the entire counties theme across the United States and do field statistics on that, you'll find that there are 270 million people across the United States, therefore making approximately 1/3 of our population at risk from tropical cyclones, probably something you weren't expecting to see or hear. And interestingly, when these tropical cyclones make landfall in the Gulf, if they work their way northward into the interior of the country, there can be severe flooding that can happen throughout the Midwest and throughout the Deep South and throughout the interior of Northeast as a result of these storms. So it really is more than 1/3 of the population which is at risk of these storms. So hopefully some of the GIS tools gave you some sense of, number one, the power of GIS, number two, how we're using it to get some information here to help you understand what's going on and to get a better picture of what these tropical cyclones are all about. All right, so that should complete 3.4.